Now when it was the 73rd night, Scheherazade said, "It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that Nuzhat al-Zaman sent the eunuch to make inquiries concerning the singer, and said, Beware, how thou come back to me and report, I could not find him. So the eunuch went out and laid about the people and trod in their tents, but found none awake, all being asleep for weariness, till he came to the stoker and saw him sitting up with his head uncovered. So he drew near and seizing him by the hand said to him, It was thou didst recite the verses? The fireman was afeared for his life and replied, No, by Allah, O chief of the people, it was not I. But the eunuch said, I will not leave thee till thou show me who it was that recited the verses, for I dread returning to my lady without him. Now, when the fireman heard these words, he feared for Zau al-Makan and wept with exceeding weeping, and said to the eunuch, By Allah, it was not I, and I know him not. I only heard some passer-by, some wayfarer recite verses, so do not thou commit sin on me, for I am a stranger and come from the holy city of Jerusalem. And Abraham, the friend of Allah, be with you all. Rise up and fare with me, rejoined the eunuch, and tell my lady this with thine own mouth, for I have seen none awake save thyself. Quoth the stoker, Hast thou not come and seen me sitting in the place where I now am, and dost thou not know my station? Thou wottest none can stir from his place except the watchman sees him. So go thou to thy station, and if thou again meet any one after this hour reciting aught of poetry, whether he be near or far, it will be I or some one I know, and thou shalt not learn of him but by me. Then he kissed the eunuch's hand and head, and spake him fair till he went away. The castrato fetched around, and returning secretly, came and stood behind the fireman, fearing to go back to his mistress without tidings. As soon as he was gone, the stoker rose and aroused Zau al-Makan and said to him, Come, sit up, that I may tell thee what hath happened. So Zau al-Makan sat up, and his companion told him what had passed, and he answered, Let me be alone. I will take no heed of this, and I care for none, for I am near mine own country. Quoth the stoker, Why wilt thou obey thy flesh and the devil? If thou fear no one, I fear for thee and for my life. So Allah upon thee, recite nothing more of verses till thou come to thine own land. Indeed, I had not deemed thee so ill-conditioned. But thou not know that this lady is the wife of the chamberlain, and is minded to chastise thee for disturbing her. Belike, she is ill or restless for fatigue of the journey, and the distance of the place from her home, and this is the second time she hath sent the eunuch to look for thee. However, Zau al-Makan paid no heed to the fireman's words, but cried out a third time, and began versifying with these couplets. I fly the carper's injury, whose carping sorely vexeth me. He chides and taunts wotting not. He burns me but more grievously. The blamer cries, he is consoled. I say, my own dear land to see. They ask, why be that land so dear? I say, it taught me in love to be. They ask, what raised its dignity? I say, what made my ignominy. Whate'er the bitter cup I drain, far be from me that land to thee, nor will I bow to these who blame, and for such love would deal me shame. Now, hardly had he made an end of his verses and come to a conclusion, when the eunuch who had heard him from his hiding place at his head came up to him, whereupon the fireman fled and stood afar off to see what passed between them. Then said the eunuch to Zau al-Makan, "Peace be with thee, O my lord." "And on thee be peace," replied Zau al-Makan, "and the mercy of Allah and his blessings." "O my lord," continued the eunuch. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased to say her permitted say. And now we will go straight on to now, when it was the 74th night. Shahrazad said, "It has reached me, O auspicious king, that the eunuch said to Zau al-Makan, 'O my lord, I have sought thee these several times this night, for my mistress biddeth thee to her.' Quoth Zau al-Makan, 'And who be this bitch that seeketh for me? Allah curse her, and curse her husband with her.' And he began to revile the eunuch, who could make no answer, because his mistress had charged him to do Zau al-Makan no hurt, nor bring him safe of his own especial free will, and if he would not accompany him, to give him 1,000 dinars. So the castrato began to speak him fair and say to him, 'O my lord, take this purse and go with me. We will do thee no unright, O my son, nor wrong thee in aught, but our object is that thou bend thy gracious steps with me to my mistress, to receive her answer and return in weal and safety, and thou shalt have a handsome present as one who bringeth good news.' When Zau al-Makan heard this, he arose and went with the eunuch and walked among the sleeping folk, stepping over them, whilst the fireman followed after them from afar, and kept his eyes upon him and said to himself, 'Alas, the pity of his youth! Tomorrow they will hang him.' And he ceased not following them till he approached their station without any observing him. Then he stood still and said, 'How base it will be of him if he say it was I who bade him recite the verses.' This was the case of the stoker. But as regards what befell Zau al-Makan, he ceased not walking with the eunuch till he reached his station, and the castrato went in to Nuzhat al-Zaman and said, 'O my lady, I have brought thee him whom thou soughtest, and he is a youth fair of face and bearing the marks of wealth and gentle breeding.' When she heard this, her heart fluttered, and she cried, 'Let him recite some verses that I may hear him near hand, and after ask him his name and his condition and his native land.' Then the eunuch went out to Zau al-Makan and said, 'Recite what verses thou knowest, for my lady is here hard by, listening to thee, and after I will ask thee of thy name and thy native country and thy condition.' Replied he, 'With love and gladness, but, and thou ask my name, it is erased, and my name is unplaced, and my body a waste. I have a story, the beginning of which is not known, nor can the end of it be shown. And behold, I am even as one who hath exceeded in wine drinking, and who hath not spared himself. One who is afflicted with distempers, and who wandereth from his right mind, being perplexed about his case, and drowned in the sea of thought.' When Nuzhat al-Zaman heard this, she broke out into excessive weeping and sobbing, and said to the eunuch, 'Ask him if he had parted from one he loveth, even as his mother or father. The castrato asked as she bade, and Zau al-Makan said, "Yes, I have parted from everyone I loved, but the dearest of all to me was my sister, from whom fate hath separated me." When Nuzhat al-Zaman heard this, she exclaimed, "Allah Almighty, reunite me with what he loveth." And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased to say her permitted say. And now, when it was the 75th night, she said, "It has reached me, O auspicious king, that when Nuzhat al-Zaman heard his words, she said, 'Allah reunite me with what he loveth.' Then quoth she to the eunuch, 'Tell him to let me hear somewhat anent his separation from his countrymen and his country.' The eunuch did so, and Zau al-Makan sighed heavily and began repeating these couplets. Is not her love a pledge by all mankind confessed? The house that hometh hins be forever blessed. Her love all levels man can reck of naught beside, naught or before or after can for man have rest. This though the vale is paved with musk and ambergris, that day when Hinder's footstep on its face is pressed. Hail to the beauty of our camp, the pride of folk, the dearling who enslaves all hearts by her behest. Allah, on time's delight, send large drop clouds that teem with genial rain, but bear no thunder in their breast. And also these. I vow to Allah, if at home I sight my sister Nuzhat al-Zamani height, I'll pass the days in joyance and delight, mid bashful minions, maidens soft and white. To sound of harps in various modes they smite, draining the bowl where eyes rain lively light. 'Neath half-closed lids of sipping lips red bright, my stream bank flowing through my garden's sight. When he had finished his verse, Nuzhat al-Zaman lifted up the skirt of the litter curtain and looked at him. As soon as her eyes fell on his face, she knew him for certain and cried out, "Oh, my brother! Oh, Zau al-Makan!" He also looked at her and knew her and cried out, "Oh, my sister! Oh, Nuzhat al-Zaman!" Then she threw herself upon him, and he gathered her to his bosom, and the twain fell down in a fainting fit. When the eunuch saw this case, he wondered at them, and throwing them over somewhat to cover them, waited till they should recover. After a while they came to themselves, and Nuzhat al-Zaman rejoiced in exceeding joy. Oppression and depression left her, and gladness took the mastery of her, and she repeated these verses. Time sware my life should fare in woeful waste. Forsworn art time, expiate thy sin in haste. Come wheel, and comes a welcome friend to aid. To him who brings good news, rise, gird thy waist. I spurned old world tales of Eden bliss, till came I, Kausar, on those lips to taste. When Zau al-Makan heard this, he pressed his sister to his breast. Tears streamed from his eyes from excess of joy, and he repeated these couplets. Long I lamented that we fell apart, while tears repentant railed from these eyne, and swear, if time unite as twain once more, severance shall never sound from tongue of mine. Joy hath so overwhelmed me that excess of pleasure from mine eyes draws gouts of brine. Tears, O mine eyes, have now become your wont, yet weep for pleasure, and you weep for pine. They sat a while at the litter door, till she said to him, Come with me into the litter, and tell me all that hath befallen thee, and I will tell thee what happened to me. So they entered, and Zau al-Makan said, Do thou begin thy tale. Accordingly, she told him all that had come to her since their separation at the Khan, and what had happened to her with the Badavi, how the merchant had brought her of him, and had taken her to her brother Shah Khan, and had sold her to him, how he had freed her, and at the same time of buying, how he had made a marriage contract with her, and had gone into her, and how the king, their sire, had asked for her from Shah Khan. Then quoth she, Praised be Allah, who hath vouchsafed thee to me, and ordained that even as we left our father together, so together shall we return to him. And she added, Of a truth, my brother Shah Khan gave me in marriage to this chamberlain, that he might carry me to my father. And this is what befell me from first to last. So now tell me how it hath fared with thee since I left thee. Thereupon he told her all that had happened to him, from beginning to end, and how Allah vouchsafed to send the fireman to him, and how he had journeyed with him, and spent his money on him, and had served him night and day. She praised the stoker for this, and Zau al-Makan added, Of a truth, O my sister, this fireman hath dealt with me in such benevolent wise as would not lover with lass nor sire with son, for that he fasted and gave me to eat, as he walked whilst he made me ride, and I owe my life to him. Said she, Allah willing, we will requite him for all this according to our power. Then she called the eunuch, who came and kissed Zau al-Makan's hand, and she said, Take thy reward for glad tidings, O face of good omen. It was thy hand reunited me with my brother. So the purse I gave thee, and all in it, are thine. But now go to thy master and bring him quickly to me. The castrato rejoiced, and going to the chamberlain, summoned him to his mistress. Accordingly, he came to his wife, and finding Zau al-Makan with her, asked who he was. So she told him all that had befallen them both, first and last, and added, Know, O chamberlain, that thou hast married no slave girl, far from it. Thou hast taken to wife the daughter of King Omar bin al-Nu'man, for I am Nuzat al-Zaman, and this is my brother, Zau al-Makan. When the chamberlain heard the story, he knew it to be sooth, and its manifest truth appeared to him, and he was certified that he was become King Omar bin Nu'man's son-in-law. So he said to himself, 'Twill be my fate to be made viceroy of some province. Then he went up to Zau al-Makan and gave him joy of his safety and reunion with his sister, and bade his servants forthwith make him ready a tent and one of the best of his own horses to ride. Thereupon said Nuzat al-Zaman, We are now near our country, and I would be left alone with my brother that we may enjoy each other's company and take our fill of it ere we reach Baghdad. For we have been parted a long, long time. "Be it as thou biddest," replied the chamberlain, and going forth from them sent them wax candles and various kinds of sweetmeats, together with 3 suits of the costliest for Zau al-Makan. Then he returned to the litter and related the good he had done, and Uzat al-Zaman said to him, "Bid the eunuch bring me the fireman and give him a horse to ride, and ration him with a tray of food morning and evening, and let him be forbidden to leave us." The chamberlain called the castrato and charged him to do accordingly, so he replied, "I hear and I obey." And he took his pages with him and went out in search of the stoker till he found him in the rear of the caravan, girthing his ass and preparing for flight. The tears were running down his cheeks out of fear for his life and grief for his separation from Zau al-Makan, and he was saying to himself, "Indeed, I warned him for the love of Allah, but he would not listen to me. Oh, would I knew what has become of him." Ere he had done speaking, the eunuch was standing by his head whilst the pages surrounded him. The fireman turned and, seeing the eunuch and the pages gathered around him, became yellow with fear. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased to say her permitted say. So, dear friends, I am going to finish my story this evening. It was once again lovely reading for you. I have read for you this evening from a theatre which is the Theater Drachengasse, because I had castings in here earlier on today, and I thought I would use the opportunity to quickly read the story for you and then put it up later. I thought it would be nice to have a new location. I hope this worked out very, very well for you. It was, as usual, an absolute pleasure reading for you this evening. I hope you had a wonderful Friday, or are about to have a wonderful Friday. If you're going to go to sleep now, then have a wonderful evening, night's sleep, and bless you. It was a real pleasure. Take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, and as usual, many salams. Good night. Take care. Bye-bye.